Hello everyone, welcome to today's video, and today we're gonna talk about my top 10 video game villains. And just to be clear, this is just my personal favorite. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. I respect your opinion. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Coming up as number 10 is Tessa Bulgar. Okay, Tessa is that kinda assassin villain that I really like. A villain of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and I feel like he's the best villain of the games. Not just in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but in all of Assassin's Creed. I feel like he is the true big bad. Sometimes he has a god complex, or not directly god. He thinks himself immortal, that no man can kill him, and that is deadly arrogance. He's an arrogant son of a bitch, and you can't help but be a joy when Ezio kills him. You also feel like you despise him the more you learn about him, and that is something I feel like I love about him. He's meant to be hated. He don't have any real redemption or relatable qualities, and that is why he's here at number 10. Coming up as number 9 is the president of Shinra. This is a clear picture of what happens when one man has too much power. Power corrupts people, and there's obvious that the power the president of Shinra has corrupted him. Maybe he was less of a douchebag earlier, but he's a complete corrupt businessman and a dictator. Some say that the mayor was meant to be the leader of Domino City, of around the people, but because of his power and influence, he managed to just make the mayor a figure of some sort. I don't really sure what I'm going to call it, but the point is he has power. The power has corrupted him, and he cared more about himself than the people of Midgard. And this is why he's coming up as number 9. Coming up as number 8 is Eridan from the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Okay, I'm going to be honest, Eridan didn't really stick with me that much. I add him to the list because I like the fact that he's the leader of the Wild Hunt, which is the real threat, but I don't feel him alone is much of a threat. Okay, I'm gonna also mention that I don't really feel like he lived up to the expectation as the big bad. Of course he's evil and all, but I don't feel like he posed that much of a threat that some other in earlier game did, and that is only the reason why I am so low on the list. But again, I still know that he was a threat, even with or without the Wild Hunt. Not as much as the earlier, but still a threat. And I think he deserves a spot at number 8. Coming up at number 7 is Doctrine Affairs from Ratchet and Clank. He's by far my favorite villain of that series. He's the funniest villain on this list, and if you think about it, he often is close to succeed, but he ends up failing, and that is something you have to appreciate. Even though you know you're going to beat him, he is not far from succeeding. Some villains aren't always that close like others, and some villains feel like it's too obvious that they're going to fail. But it wasn't that with Doctrine Affairs, not even in A Clock in Time. And that is one of the reasons why I add him to the list. He really feels like a threat. He's intelligent and he's funny, and that is something I really can appreciate. Coming up as number 8 is Wesker from Resident Evil. He's by far a bit of the corrupt side of characters, but again, he's the kind of character I feel like humanity is destined for self-destruction, and to some point he isn't completely wrong neither. And that is something I like about this character. You really understand that he has a point, and that is something that helps humanize the character even more. Of course, I don't agree with the way he does things, but I can understand it a bit, and that is something that makes a great villain, that you sometimes can understand them. And the fact that he is willing to do whatever it takes only helps solidify him as a genuine threat. He even turned himself into a monster in order to succeed, and that is something that not all villains are willing to do. They're not willing to sacrifice themselves, but Albert Wesker did so. I don't think he knew he was going to die, but turning himself into what he did couldn't have been good for him. So this is why I add him as number 6. Coming up as number 5 is Eridan from Final Fantasy XV. Now, the thing I like most about him is that at start he seems like a good person, but at the same time you know something is off. He seems like a character that can be either a good guy or a villain, and that's a bit difficult to do at start. Really few characters can seem like they can be one of either, and I think Eridan seems that well until you learn that he's working for the Empire. Eridan is the main villain of Final Fantasy XV, and that is also something I like. I often feel like characters like him doesn't get the love they really need, because he's a really underappreciated character, in my opinion. He's a great villain, but again, I don't think he gets as much love as other villains do. But again, I feel like he's a great villain. He is a great foil to our heroes, and I feel like he's earned a plus at number 5. Now coming up as number 4 is Rhea from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Many of you going to disagree with me this, saying that Rhea isn't really a villain, but in my opinion she is. I feel like she is a dictator. Don't forget something she said. She says that even if the enemies are civilians, if they pointed their blades at them, they must be killed. That is some real dictatorship right there. I feel like Rhea is this kind of dictator that seems like a good leader and many things, and in many points she is. But the second you find out that the character isn't on her side, she really loses it. Don't forget, in one of the past Fire Emblem Three Houses, she is the main villain, and that is one of the many reasons why I feel like Rhea is deserving of this list. She's manipulative and she is evil, and the fact is that she hides behind it really well. And again, another thing I can say about her is that she is corrupt belief in itself. Let's say it this way, people who believe in God to a certain degree start disliking people that don't. If you believe in God so much that it corrupts you as a person, then that will affect others, and that is Rhea's character. Her trying to force a belief on others, in my opinion, that's the way I see her. And once people start questioning her, she gets angry. She doesn't like to be questioned, and that is one of the many things that I feel like makes her a great villain. But again, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Now coming up as number 3 is Michael Bell from Red Dead Redemption. Michael Bell is the main villain of Red Dead Redemption, and you never really like the character. He's a great villain, but he's that kind of character you immediately hate. In the start of the game, he harassed a girl uh, who will later join Justice Gang, and he's extremely racist, he's arrogant, and he is a complete asshole. Michael Bell is evil incarnate, almost. There's no redeeming quality, and that is one of the many things that makes him a great villain. He causes the main character to die, even though the main character would have died anyway. He destroyed Justice Gang from within, and really, he is really just causing trouble for our main character. And even though you feel like when he has a few good points, he's still an asshole about it. And that is one of the many things I like about him. He's a great villain, he's a great asshole, and he's good at being an asshole. Coming up as number 2 is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. I really like Sephiroth as a villain, mostly because I feel like he's so badass. There's other things as well. I like how great of a swordsman he is, I like the length of his sword, and I like his character. Even though I only played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I didn't play the original, and that is one of the reasons why I feel like prevents him from coming to number 1. But again, I feel so much about him. I feel like he's always a threat, and that is one of the many reasons why I wanted him on this list. I like that he's wooed the Shinra's president. I like his rivalry with Cloud, and I like that he is a really great threat. And the fact that even though they defeated him at the end of Final Fantasy VII Remake, he's still out there, and that is one of the many reasons why I want him as number 2. I have a few other things I say. I said it earlier, but he's so badass. He's so cool. How can I not add him as number 2? Coming up as number 1 is Master Xehanort from the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Now, he is by far my favorite villain. And the reason for that is because you understand him a bit more, especially after Kingdom Hearts 3. The fact that he is a seeker of darkness is a ruse, a lie for him to trick people to think that he really is a villain. And in many ways he is. He killed his friend Ericus, and that is one of the points that makes him a villain. He is good at manipulating people, and he is a master tactician. He can plan 6 moves ahead, and you can't say that there's many villains that can plan 6 moves ahead of you. You really just can't. There is really, I feel like he could have won if he really wanted to, and he won the Keyblade War. He summoned Kingdom Hearts, and Sora ended up defeating him. And I understand that Sora was able to that, but in many ways I feel like Xehanort could, if he was really to return and try again, he could really beat Sora. And that is one of the many things that makes him stand out. You really feel like he is the inedible. Of course we know that that will be the darkness, but again, and the fact that he only wanted to get rid of darkness was something that really set his character apart from other Kingdom Hearts villains. He wants to do the right thing like other villains sometimes wants. And that is one of the many reasons why I feel like he's such a great villain. You understand him, but you can see how evil he is. You can sympathize with him a bit because he wants to do the right thing, but it doesn't forgive him. And that is one of the many reasons why I add him as number 1. And that's it for this video. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.